What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of restoring this 1992 Yamaha XJ600 Seika 2. First thing we're going to tackle is this fuel tank. It is rustier than an iron weight left at the bottom of the ocean, and I'm hoping we can restore it with some way. I'm going to walk you through some of the options I thought of when going to restore this gas tank, because there are many, but I'm going to walk you through the thought process I had, as well as some of them which I tried that did sort of work out. So let's get into it. First, we got to take the tank off the bike and show you its condition. Let's go. If the cap wasn't a good enough indicator, taking a look inside the tank, you can see we've got our work cut out for us in removing this amount of rust. I've already tried using electrolysis to remove some of the rust using a battery charger like this and using a metal anode to attract the rust from the tank towards it. I had it running for about 2 hours, but it didn't get me the result I was really looking for. It also was something I had to keep an eye on and tend every couple hours to make sure the water level stayed up and I wasn't gonna short the charger out. So for that reason, electrolysis is out of the picture. The next option I had in doing my research on what to remove this rust with, I came across muriatic acid. Now, muriatic acid could be used and it would actually remove the rust very quickly, but it's not environmentally safe and not a great idea to put in something when you're going to just be disposing the liquid later. Because getting rid of muriatic acid means you have to dilute it a lot, and still you're putting all that chemicals out into the world, and that's not great. So I kept searching. The next solution I found was called Evaporust, and I've heard it works wonders on rusty buckets like this. But it wasn't cheap. I was gonna have to spend about 30, 40 bucks to fill this whole tank. Although it was environmentally safe, it wasn't that friendly to my wallet. So that left me with one other solution that the internet said. Finally, I came to the conclusion of using pure white vinegar. This stuff is acidic enough to dissolve the rust into a solution which can then be poured out, and it's non-toxic. You could dispose of this down your drain if you needed to, or you could reuse it for future gas tanks. I just don't think it's gonna be good for cooking after this. So to get started, we're gonna plug up the gas tank, plug up the petcock underneath, seal off any other holes that it has if your gas tank is different, and pour it in. You gotta let the vinegar sit for at least 24 hours or overnight to make it work its magic. So let's get started. We have our gas tank here leveled up on some blocks of wood. I've left the petcock in it, which might not be the best idea because it might want to corrode that, but oh well, it's just a plastic filter inside. We're gonna fill up the vinegar through the top with a funnel right to the top, covering the entire inside of the tank. So I anticipated the tank being full after 12 liters, but looks like we need more white vinegar to fill up this tank. I'll go pick up another 4 liters and we'll be good to go. Make sure you wipe off any vinegar left on your tank from splashes because that's not great for your paint, and let it sit. So the tank is full now. It took about 17 liters of vinegar if you're doing this on your own bike. Gonna let it sit now overnight, check on it in the morning. So we're back 24 hours later. The tank leaked a little out of the petcock, which isn't great, but the tank, looking a little crusty in there. We're gonna empty it, see what junk we got off the insides of this tank. Oh, not my foot. This is the leftover vinegar and all the sediment you can see in the bottom. It's hard to capture. Look at all that rust. This is just a fraction of what actually was in the tank. A lot of it shook out onto the driveway and I had to hose off, but look at all that sediment. Just fine rust. Some big chunks in there too. It's crazy. This is after using the vinegar, and it looks a fair bit better. It's converted a lot of the rust into, well, not rust. Well, people, you saw me empty it. Now we got a bit of a problem. We got more holes than we want. So we got to find a solution to that. You can see the light coming through the bottom of the tank there. So to remedy the holes in my fuel tank that I don't want, I'm going to use some JB Weld steel stick here. Now I know what you're probably thinking. That's not a permanent fix. That won't work. You know, you should weld it. Well, I did the research. You could solder it, you could braze it, you could take it to a radiator and heater core repair shop and have them fix it. All of those things cost money that I don't want to spend or takes time to do the job that I don't want to wait for. So JB Weld, it costs 10 bucks. I read some reviews. People seem to have had good luck with it. I'll follow the instructions and make sure it adheres well to the tank so we get the best results out of this JB Weld steel stick. But this sucks. I don't think there was much holding this tank together other than the paint on the outside and the flaky rust on the inside. So as the vinegar ate away at the rust and I shook the rust inside the tank out into the bucket, it slowly just pulled off the rust that was holding the paint together, basically. So really, I think I took a pretty gentle approach. I'm not sure if Evaporust or any other rust removal method would have prevented this from happening. Because at the end of the day, if you did electrolysis, you're going to take the rust off and then it would have just been paint holding the tank together, which would have come off with any pressure applied, like a light finger or just water sloshing around in the tank, cleaning it. If you did Evaporust, I'm not sure, but I basically think that if it converted anything that was rust inside here to not rust and took it away, it would have basically broken the tank as well. So I don't think there was a preventable way of doing this. I didn't even have any steel beads in here or any nuts and bolts in this tank to break up the rust. So I literally took the least aggressive method and this is still what happened. So this is what you run into repairing an old bike, but here's what we're going to do to fix it. So sand it, clean it, degrease it, and then follow the instructions on steel stick, which is basically cut off as much as you need, knead it together, paste it over, cures in about an hour. That's about it. So it covered up pretty well. It hardens pretty quick. It's a rock solid connection there. So yeah, it looks a little goofy. It feels like you're working with silly putty, and it's an exothermic reaction, so it gets hotter as it goes, but I think this will work. Only time will tell. All right, we got the tank on, connected up to the fuel lines, and it's time to see if it leaks or if we find any other holes. So I'm gonna fill it with gas and find out if it leaks. Let's get it. All right, moment of truth. Will I pour $30 of gas all over the floor, or will it stay in the bike? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So it looks like my gasket sealed up all right, but right next to that gasket, that little hole there, that's where the gas is coming from. Guess we'll take this off, use some more steel stick on that hole over there after sanding it down and try and make it real flush and not invade the space here, and put it back together. Try again. Guess what I found? 2 more holes. Woo! Alright, so after a long fight with more holes than I would like to find in this gas tank, I covered basically the whole bottom section with JB Weld steel stick. Now in reality, I think this whole hump needs to be cut off and a new sheet metal piece to be made because everything inside this is pretty rotten. But for now, I'm going to throw this on the bike and see if it solves our problem. Take 99 of putting this fuel tank on. If this gas doesn't end up all over the floor, that's a big win. No leaks yet. We might be in the clear. No leaks yet. Woo! Time to find out if the XJ is gonna start. We got battery? Oh, I heard a little. Let's get it on choke. Come on. Oh, it's so close. Come on, baby. Nope, needs more gas. As you saw in that last clip, our fuel tank fix is a success. By no means is it pretty, but at least it works. Would I do this if I was going to take the bike across country? Probably not. With that said, it doesn't leak, so I filled the tank up. It's probably half, 3/4 full. That way the gasoline inside the tank prevents the inside of the tank from rusting because there's fluid covering it. I hope you guys learned something from this episode. If you too have also had fuel tank problems with rust and leaks, drop them in a comment down below. Tell me about what your struggles have been like with your fuel tanks and let me know how you fix it, because if this works long term, I'll be stoked, but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. Also, as you can hear, the bike runs a little bit rough. I'm not sure if that's normal for this bike, so if you know carbureted 4-cylinder engine sounds really well, drop a comment down below. Let me know if that sounds right to you. If not, give me an idea on what's probably wrong with it. Either way, next episode, we're going to be taking apart the carbs to clean out all the holes and make sure there's no blocked orifices there preventing this bike from running right. Hopefully that helps smooth it out. Please smash the like and subscribe button down below. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a good day.